Well, good afternoon, traders. It is all coming up on 1 o'clock here in the eastern part of the United States. My name is Thomas T. Ryan. I put out a trading letter every day, 200 trading days a year. And it's a Friday afternoon, and the market is very slow, so I thought I would put together a quick video here and show you a couple of trades and why we picked them and how they worked out. I'm going to come back to this one in a minute, but let's look right now first at EW. Edwards Life Sciences. We came out with this one yesterday, and the stock did nicely for one day, and now it's stopped out on a pullback, which we moved the stop to break even this morning, and so it stopped out break even. But it had a nice little pop, very typical of what's going on in the market right now. There's just not a lot of momentum. It's the prime summer vacation week here in August of 2018, and so there's just not a lot of movement going on. And I think the market is also very hesitant in general. You know, we've got the all the trade talk of Trump going on, a lot of hesitancy out there. So we're doing the best we can with some, I think, challenging market conditions. But let's talk about why we picked this. This is very typical of what we would do ordinarily. So the first thing we want to look at is we want to look for, let's just talk about the longs. The shorts are the same thing but opposite, but let's just talk about longs. It's easier. So Edwards is a long. We're looking for an opportunity to get in at a good price. So we're looking for Edwards to be oversold. Indication of an oversold is right down here. The stochastic 14, which is principally what we look at. Stochastic 14 was at 10 a day before yesterday, and so it's clearly an oversold stock. Now there are lots of oversold stocks out there. So how do we pick one that looks like it's going to be a winner? First thing we're looking for is the stock is still in an uptrend in the time frame that we're trading. We're trading the daily time frame. We're doing daily swing trades. So here's the nice uptrend. Edwards is coming down into what we hope is going to be a turning point for the stock. It's gotten oversold in an uptrend. That's the number one thing. Then let's take a look at how solid do we think the uptrend is. Well, the uptrend looks pretty good because it's been going on a long time. Edwards has an okay but not fantastic weekly MACD right here. You see how kind of broken that is. It's still trending up a bit, but it's kind of broken. But that's all right. We're going to look past that a little bit because we see that it's a very solid uptrend with fairly tight movement in here. Yeah, it's bouncing around a little bit, probably a little more than we would have liked, but it's still a very solid uptrending stock on a higher time frame. The next thing you want to look for is the tightness of the pattern. We talked about that. And now we're going to look for declining volume. So we see this. The stock came down here, and you can see big sell-off. I think that was earnings right there. Big sell-off on the earnings, and bit by bit, the volume declines. And sure enough, you got a little pop on it right here, but not really much. And you probably wouldn't have gotten all the signals you wanted to take this right here. Although you could have made money on it. It was not really a major winner. We're looking at it further down here, which is beginning to get a little bit too far along, but we know it's a strong stock, so we're going to hang on and we're going to say right here, this looks like an oversold situation that we can make some money on. Well, sure enough, it started moving, and I actually day traded this myself in here just for a short, I think I was in it for maybe an hour or two, and made a couple of bucks on that. But it was strong, as it was right here, and so we said, let's put this in the letter. Well, why would we put this one in the letter as opposed to, again, something else? So again, we'll add up the factors here. It's down several days in a row. It's oversold. It has an uptrend on its daily time frame. It has an uptrend on its higher time frame weekly. It even has been going on. This stock has been climbing since like 2014. This is a very strong stock. We also happen to know, and I don't do this with very many stocks, we also happen to know that Edwards has been a favorite of the IBD 50, I believe. So there are a lot of folks out there that follow this and like the stock. And I don't have no idea if it's still in there or not, but I know it has been. So it's probably got some sponsorship that's going to give it a good pop. So is the timing right now? Well, we add all these things up, and the odds are increasing that this thing is going to pop. The final thing we'll look at is the hourly time frame, and you can see this MACD has now been in divergence here for a while. It actually started maybe right about here. The stock right about here. The stock continued to decline, but the MACD didn't. So that's another thing which is saying to us, all right, this is maybe beginning to tee up a bump. And sure enough, when there was a nice sell-off right here, I think we had that big down day, that 300-point down day this past week. Traders stepped in and thought this was a good entry point here. And it was a good entry point. You could have made money. You could have, taken the profits on the trade that morning, just day traded it, and you would have been just fine. You could have even held it overnight, and you would have still been able to get out right about, in here somewhere if you thought it was going to pull back. But we put in a break-even stop on it, so we got stopped out today, break-even on the trade. That's okay. It's a tough market. I'm going to show you another one here, which I did. We did not put this in the letter, but I traded this for the last couple of days. I went in right here on. Did I go in here? I went in right here the next morning, above that high, on Abbott Labs. Again, all the same characteristics. The stock has an uptrend in the time frame that we're trading. It has a strong, tight pattern, strong, solid, tight pattern going up. Matching MACD, this is a little bit of a concern right here, but solid matching pattern. MACD is still rising. Higher time frame, even more solid, although it's way up there. But there are a lot of stocks that are like this. They're pretty high right now. So we're very cautious about trying to get any kind of long-term movement out of these stocks, which is one of the things our system does. We take 70% of our gains as soon as the stock moves 1R. We're 70% out of the position and we're into break even. If we don't see the kind of behavior where it really is able to keep some strong momentum going like Edwards, a stock that has that kind of strong momentum and then does a pullback like Edwards did, that's not really what we want to see. So we immediately move the stop to break even, and that protects us. So we hopefully protect our gains. But again, same pattern. This one had even a little bit better pattern because the MACD on the daily time frame, which is a little unusual, you get these pullbacks. Often the MACD is out of whack on the daily time frame. Maybe that's why the stock is continuing to move. But I got out of it this morning because again, for my risk tolerance, I'm not going to stay in a stock that's this high up, even though it's got a tight pattern. I've made a couple of bucks on it. The range is narrowing. It's Friday. No, I took my money and got out. So that's how we do it. If you want to join us for a free trial, 30-day free trial, Thomas T. Ryan and Company, daily swing trade newsletters, which we put out 200 trading days a year in your inbox, 8:30 in the morning. No credit cards required. Just give us your email and your name, and we'll put you on the list for 30 days. Thanks so much.